Okay, so the first thing you do when you have a simple interest question is you write down the formula. I equals PRN. So it says in the question that we have $8,000 invested at 4% per annum for 5 years. So P is 8,000, R is the 4%, and N is 5 years. So we sub those into our formula. P is 8,000. The 4% we change to be 0.04 and times by 5 for 5 years. Did you guys get that? And you got 1,600. Wonderful. So question 2 is the slightly harder version because it says 18 months. So the P is the 7,000, R is the 6.25. The 18 months needs to be changed to be 18 over 12 so that it's in years, and that will be the N. Okay, so I equals PRN. P is 7,000. R is 0.0625. Did you get that? And N is 18 over 12. Did anyone get an answer? Anyone else? So you should get 656.25. Oh. Oh, that was lucky. All right, so today, this is the very last thing we need to do in this topic. It is still about simple interest, but we're calling it applications of simple interest because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be finding something else in the formula. Instead of trying to find the I, we might try to find the P or the R or the T. And we'll be rearranging the equations to get those things. So let's read the first one. Remy invests $2,500. What letter would that be in the formula? That's the P, good. At 8% per annum, what's the 8%? The R. And now it says for a period of time, but we don't know what it is, to produce $50 interest. That $50 is the I. Okay? For how long did she invest the money? That means I'm trying to find the N. So question mark on the N, that's what I'm trying to find. So my formula is I equals PRN, just like always. Sub in the ones that we do know. What's I? So I'm going to have 50 equals, what's the P? 2,500, good. What's the R? Which is 0.08. And I don't know the N, so I'm going to just have times by N. This is an equation. I need to get the N by itself. But before I do that, I'm going to tidy it up a little bit. The 2,500 and the 0.08, times them together. Okay, so that's 2,500 times 0.08. That's 200. So I have 50 equals 200 with the N, 200N. Now, remember equations? Doing the opposite. The 200 is times with the N. What's the opposite? Ooh, nobody remembers. The opposite of timesing by 200. Divide by 200. So we're going to do divide 200. Divide 200 on both sides because we're keeping our equation balanced. That means that the 200s over here, they cancel out. And that gets the N all by itself. So I'm going to switch the n over to the left-hand side. And I just need to divide 50 divided by 200. So use your calculator. What is 50 divided by 200? That's 0.25. So it's a quarter of a year. So if she puts that money in the bank for a quarter of a year, she'll get $50, is what that's saying. Let's try another one. Question 2. A bank advertises $450 interest. So that says interest, so that's the I. On a year investment of $7,500. What's that? The P. Calculate the simple interest rate on an investment. Now, there's one other thing that's hiding in here. It says on a year. That's the N. Sneaky. It's hiding in there. I was looking for it. I'm like, oh, I'm missing something. But in here, this is telling us that N is equal to 1. So it says a year, 1 year. Okay. So let's write down our formula. I equals PRN. What's the I? Yeah, what number? 450. What's the P? 7500. What's the R? Don't know. That's the one we're trying to find, right? So we're going to go times R times, what's the N? 1. Now, just like last time, even though the R's in the middle, that's okay. You can still times the 7,500 with the 1. So that's just going to be 7,500. So we'll write that as 7500R. Okay, now we've got to get that R by itself. How do I do that? Doing the opposite. What's the opposite? We divide, good, by 7500. So move the R over to the left and type in your calculator 450 divided by 7,000 or over 7,500. Now you get a really small number. What do you get? If it's a decimal, try to do a decimal. Now that's because this is the R. Remember, whenever we put R into our formula, we always turn it into a decimal. But what would that be as a percentage? Times it by 100. That would be 6%. Does that make sense? Because normally we say 6%, so that's 0.06. But now I'm saying I've got the 0.06, so that means it's 6%. Yeah, we're going backwards. Okay, let's try another one. Question 3. A bank offers you a loan of $24,000. I think that's going to be the P. At 16% per annum, that's the R, simple interest, requiring that the loan be repaid in equal monthly installments over 5 years. N. Now this is a little bit different, this question, because we're actually borrowing money and we have to pay it back. So there's 3 steps to work us through this question. Part A is the one that we're familiar with. It says how much interest is charged. Okay, so there's my I equals PRN. I know the P, the R, and the N. This is back to normal. So P is 24000. R is, as a decimal, yeah, 0.16. And N is 5. Good, times it together. Oh, that's a big number. It's 19200. Did you guys get the same thing? Okay, so we borrowed $24,000 from the bank. They're going to charge us $19,200 interest. Yikes! Okay, so part B says, what is the total amount that the loan and the interest is now going to equal. We want to add them together to see how much these poor people now owe. Okay, so it's going to be 24,000 plus 19,200. They owe $43,200. Isn't that nasty? You only borrowed 24,000, but you've got to pay them back 43,200. Now, we want to pay that back in equal monthly, it says up here in the question, monthly installments. Months. We have 5 years. How many months are there? In 1 year. So if I have 5 years, I'll do 5 times 12. So there's 60 months that we have to pay this back, right? So I take my $43,200 and I divide it up into those 60 months so that I'm paying it back in equal amounts. Yeah? So it's divide by 60, which means they've got to pay back $720 per month. What do you think of that? Yeah. All right, that's the end of the theory part.